Pep Talk is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subject matter. You've been warned. Enjoy the show. Pep Talk. This is our True Detective Pep Talk preview. Talking about the new casting with Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn. We got Devin Seal and Jason McCullum on tap for the video. Now, for Jason McCullum's video, unfortunately, a little bit of technical difficulties, but a lot of solid points made. So, one or two times where the audio cuts in and out. Tried to fidget with it, tried to fix it the best that I can. So, just a heads up for that. So, enjoy all this good stuff on True Detective. Cheers. Enjoy the day, people. What it is, what it do, welcome to a very special late night pep talk with the dangerous, the debonair, the up late. It's Devin Seal.
I'm a vampire. I totally admit it.
And your host, Joshua Adams, Season 2 Arbuthnot.
Ooh, that was pretty good. You should have been like, I'm seasoned.
Oh, I'm seasoned. A little more monotone, not the big vibrato of the entrance that we have. Because this
This
is
is
late night pep talk. We keep it chill.
this is pep talk after dark.
Ooh. But no, for all seriousness, the reason we came to do this, we released the podcast out. Audio version's getting uploaded actually as I speak. It'll be out for Thursday morning. But we thought we'd hit you with a little video nidbit because we got some breaking news that happened yesterday, but due to schedules, we're just getting in now. But we have our two main actors for Season 2 True Detective, a personal favorite of the show and of ours.
Yeah, you know what? That was the kind of show that I knew it was kind of big when it came out, and I kind of thought I'll get to it. But man, was I ever glad that I did.
So
It was a sneaky show.
it was
Hey,
a it was a very sneaky show, and it definitely for people that have been following us for the past 2 years, it definitely kind of went in the vein of what we like here, as far as symbolism and a deeper meaning and solid script writing for a show.
blue and red.
So we had Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, and they knocked it out of the park. And we were in Louisiana, and great visuals there. We know this next one's going to be set in California, and I believe the 1980s. But now we have our actors, Colin Farrell, who was rumored for a while, and he's a pretty good dramatic actor. And then the one that surprised everybody, Devin, Vince Vaughn.
Absolutely. The more we've seen out of Colin Farrell the past few years, this is the kind of pick that makes a lot of sense. He's done a very good job of doing small character actor roles in dramas and whatnot. As it turns out, he wasn't the big action hero people thought he was going to be, but he's a much more human, really good display of emotions, kind of damaged, really funny, clever. Seems very dynamic, and it's kind of like the whole like Matthew McConaughey thing, where he was typecast as this guy in this certain role for a really long time, and then he kind of found some roles that just like blew our minds. I recently had the pleasure of watching In Bruges, which is kind of what people call Colin Farrell's like coming out party. And in that movie, going from that movie to a show like True Detective, I totally see him fitting as not necessarily like kind of a damaged or like a dark person, but a good character capable of having some good comebacks. Takes his job seriously, has his own demons, I'm sure, as these characters will. I find Vince Vaughn a little bit of a shocker. I'm sure everyone's going to say that. But at the same time, Vince Vaughn kind of has it like that self-deprecating humor, where he likes to kind of take it out on himself. So I see him being like the darker character for sure.
Have we seen Vince Vaughn in any serious roles that come to mind? Obviously, we can look up in a second here. But I can't think of any time I've seen him in a serious role. Like when I just think of him, I think of Wedding Crashers, or think of him in Anchorman as Wes Mantooth, and then the series of movies that he's trying to follow up with success that Dodgeball and Wedding Crashers had with The Dilemma and The Internship, and The Breakup with Jennifer Aniston. He seemed to kind of been in that comedy rom com type of
Totally.
facility.
I would say The Breakup is probably his like least funny role. It definitely was an okay movie back in the day. I thought it was nice because it broke the mold of
You talking
romantic
about
comedies.
Swingers?
No, no, I'm talking about The Breakup
Oh, right, yeah.
because it wasn't necessarily like a comedy movie because it kind of had like a little bit of a serious tone to it. Um,
I don't have
you
any
know,
doubts that he can do it. Like we've seen these comedic actors, Sandler and Punch Drunk Love, Will Ferrell in Stranger Fiction, the recently passed away Robin Williams showed how you could blur both those worlds, and I think Vince has a possibility to shock us.
yeah, I think he's going to be definitely the underdog. He's going to be the one that we're going to talk about the most for sure. But I see him being the one that's going to have. I think he's going to be kind of the character that we need to watch out for in the show because I feel like he's going to be able to hold on to some things that are really intense and really deep. We're not going to be able to see them for a long time until they just kind of come out onto the screen.
This is almost a breakout role for him because if this works very well, he has another set of genre that he can move into, and he doesn't have to do those rom coms or those comedies anymore. He can be dramatic actor Vince Vaughn, like we saw that worked so well for Robin Williams and at one point even for Bill Murray.
Absolutely. Well, we see TV as this another avenue for serious actors,
Mhm.
and True Detective looks to be the show that's going to take a lot of big risks. And I like the idea of having a different cast. I like a different setting. I really don't think the crimes are going to be connected in any way. At least I hope not. Um, so I mean, even if it isn't a home run, they're not losing a whole lot by having a mediocre season.
What do you think about the setting in California?
We know it's not going to be in Los Angeles. It's going to show some other places. I think kind of Northern California or some smaller towns. Oakland, right? Is that the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Excited. I think it'll be nice to have a non-romanticized view of California.
Well, if you kind of look at the '80s, especially in like Oakland, San Francisco, Vallejo, Watts, all that kind of area over there. That's when Coke was really big. I mean, at one
Mm.
part they used to call Oakland Cokeland because of all the Coke over there. And then, I mean, with Cali too, you have all the Bloods and the Crips and the Latin Kings, a lot of
Yeah. Do you,
gang violence.
do you think this is going to be more gang-related crime than season one was?
Yeah. When I think of California and I think crime, Bloods and Crips and Latin Kings are definitely something that comes to mind.
See, I don't think it's going to be gang-related. I think they're going to steer away from things that we expect. I think it's going to be some kind of I wouldn't say serial killer like it was in season one, but I think it's going to be like a kind of a similar kind of vein of a small group of people who are acting out and doing some odd things. I wouldn't say it's just straight gangs and drugs though, because we already have shows like The Wire that handled that very well.
Yeah, they were definitely one of the show. And when do we have any news on when production starts?
Not that I know of. I know that the director from Fast and the Furious 7 has been signed on to direct this particular season, though. I'm not sure how many episodes.
You would think it would start again in January, kind of the same one the last one did. You would think they would start shooting soon.
You think, but then at the same time, I mean, they also have to do post production and I guess even pre production. So I wouldn't say January. Maybe it's gonna be one of those summer kind of shows.
Hmm.
Fill in the void that AMC has. Because we're probably gonna get Mad Men in what January?
No, well, this is for AMC. It's Walking Dead will go from October to December. Take a break. Then Walking Dead will come back about February. Go February to April. Then we'll get the finale of Mad Men. That's the AMC way. So True
Oh yeah.
Detective, I would assume, would be going against Walking Dead. I mean, if for us here, Mad Men and True Detective back to back on a Sunday. It's gonna be some busy Sundays for us.
A lot of whiskey.
A lot of whiskey. So yeah, I mean, we'll keep you updated with all the news on True Detective. And I'm not even mad about either one of the casting. I like the idea of Colin Farrell in the role. I think he's gonna bang it out of the park. And even though I'm a little bit hesitant about Vince Vaughn, I'm excited to see him try his acting drama chops.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Like you said, there's some good things. There's some things that are going to are going to surprise us. But hey, we have a good track record of all these great comedic actors who took themselves seriously, and people respect them now. Matthew McConaughey, Bryan Cranston, right?
Yeah, I mean, those are two guys. I mean, if you would have
Even
told
what
me the guy from How to Lose a Girl in 10 Days would be maybe the best actor of this current generation, I would have thought you were lying. Same with Cranston. Like the guy that was in his underwear chasing after Malcolm would be one of the biggest gangster models of all time. You would laugh.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. So I mean, Vince Vaughn, hey, knocked it out of the park. Um, I'm a True Detective fan now. What can I say?
Me too, man. All right, so stay here for all your True Detective updates. Now we go to Mr. Jason McCullum. For Devin, though, cheers.
Time is a flat circle.
Enjoy the day, people. What it is, what it do. We continue with our True Detective breaking news. We just talked to Devin Seal, but now we talk to someone that's defines intellectual masses. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jason McCullum. Jason, thanks for coming back onto the show.
Too kind. I don't necessarily find any of that, but that's nice of you to say.
Um,
Oh, sorry, I'm playing the alert here from Gonzaga because that's breaking news right now.
yeah, you got some stuff going down in Spokane right now.
Yeah, a little stuff going down in Gonzaga. It ended up being fake. Yeah, are you excited about this news, Josh? About
Colin Farrell, I think, is a good casting. I think he's showing some chops in dramatic roles. He was in Saving Mr. Banks last year. As like the influence of Mary Poppins' father. So I kind of saw some dramatic angst in him there, and he's done some other dramatic roles. So he's definitely showing that he can do the chops. The one that kind of comes to mind is the honorary Calgarian Vince Vaughn.
he's an honorary Calgarian.
He married a Calgarian realtor.
Well, I'm sorry, you just blinked out there, bub.
No worries. He married a real estate agent from Calgary.
Oh, okay, a real estate agent shooting big. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So
Wow.
the mayor here made him an honorary Calgarian.
Well, I think that Vince Vaughn should. Well, so we know a couple things that obviously Colin Farrell is supposed to be the quote good guy,
Mhm.
and then Vince Vaughn is supposed to be the bad guy. So obviously there's the criminal side that Vince Vaughn. I'm assuming my assumption is going to be that Colin Farrell is a undercover cop working with and he's such in deep cover that he's buddies entrenched with some deep stuff with Vince Vaughn.
That's
Is that
what I'm
what you got
thinking.
out of it? I mean,
Yeah, more or less. I mean, we know it's kind of set in 1980s California.
right.
Um, I asked my co-host this. Do you think there's going to be any ties with the Crips and the Bloods, or you think they're going to stay away from that because it's too obvious?
I don't know. I mean, I think when you say 80s and you talk about crime, True Detective, I hope that it's going to kind of be more that Vice City,
Hmm.
like a GTA kind of
Yeah.
theme to that I hope I'll see a little bit more of that. How can you not have the Crips and Bloods? I mean, you're in California.
Hmm.
You're in the 1980s when those groups are really starting to form and make a difference in those communities. So I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't have a run with that. I mean, you have 8 hours of True Detective to look forward to because it's going to be an 8-part series this year.
Yep.
And I think that we're going to see a darker side of Vince Vaughn, which we've already seen, and definitely something not talk about would be the dark side of Colin Farrell.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that we're going to see a really, really dark side to Colin, and that will match up well with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. I think so. A lot of times you get casting choices, and there's a lot of backlash to some of the casting choices. Like Vince Vaughn, for example, a lot of people thought there'd be backlash, but it kind of seems to be even keel. I kind of look back at the Ben Affleck being Batman and how much backlash there was to that casting. But it seems with this Vince Vaughn thing that a lot of people kind of have faith in him in this role.
Yeah, I think that it's a good opportunity for him to really expand as an actor, and for people to more or less see him every week. He'll definitely have a larger audience to one thing that, I mean, look at what happened to McConaughey and Harrelson with
Yeah.
this. I mean, they became the biggest things that they had ever seen. But I mean, when I first saw that trailer, it looked pretty epic. I'm like, how can you go wrong with this? With the Colin Farrell, with the Vince Vaughn, I'm more banking on the fact that True Detective was such a great show that we should see some excellent writing and some excellent cinematography, and really see some great acting coming from these fantastic actors. And hopefully the producers and directors will be able to give them the direction to make another fantastic series as we did in season one.
And you think that LA backdrop is like the right place to go, or would you like to see more in Louisiana, or we've gotten all we need out of Louisiana and it's
No, I
nice to
think
go to Cali?
Yeah, I think it's we're going back to Cali. I think that in California we're going to be able to see a lot more. I think it's a bigger land. The woods. We've been there, we've done that, and that's the one thing. I think if you went back into Louisiana, that just it does. They're going to try and be someone they're not. We know that Vince Vaughn could be from California. We know that Colin Farrell could be from California. The times in those movies that they've been, it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think? Obviously, some of the best casting in True Detective was someone on the women's side as well. We haven't heard anything on the women's side. Is there any women actresses that you'd like to possibly see sneak into a role like this?
I'm sorry, I lost you again, Josh.
No
Sorry, man.
worries, we're having back and back problems here. But I said one of the highlights of True Detective was the actresses that
Was
were
the
associated.
titties?
What?
Was the titties?
Well, that too.
Yeah. I
But
watched. There was a GIF the other day that came across that was like, "I'm really excited for True Detective. I hope they show this again." And it was the titties bouncing coming out as she lifted up the shirt. Those were beautiful. That was a highlight. I think that actually made True Detective like trend really big. So
Jennifer Lawrence quality.
yeah. Jennifer Lawrence quality. Actually, I haven't seen those titties. Did you see those titties?
I cannot confirm or deny.
You cannot confirm or deny. I couldn't find them. I was like, "Oh, Jennifer Lawrence's titties are on the internet." I'm like, "Oh man, that might be kind of fun to look at." And then I had other things to do. So,
You're not a
but
perv like the rest of the internet.
there you go. No, no, yeah, like the rest of the internet.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
So, but getting back to your point, I do think California will be the perfect spot for the backdrop for this series. I think that you're going to see Colin Farrell be being the detective that, like an entrenched detective, deep cover, and maybe he wants to become the bad guy. He sees that life. I think you're almost going to see that dynamic of a man who's very torn between this lifestyle, because obviously he's going to have that relationship with Vince Vaughn, almost that same relationship that you saw between Harrelson and McConaughey. But I would say that even between the two of them, as he plays that deep cover role, you'll see a more family type of. There's going to be that brother relationship, and they're going to be so tied together that it's going to be a lot of drama as that story continues to unfold. And I would only imagine that Vince Vaughn finds out there's going to be a lot of stuff there going on, and I can't wait to even see a snippet of a trailer so that we can speculate even more.
Yeah, I think we'll probably get the trailer maybe around December. Thinking production will probably rev up in the next 3 weeks here, you would think?
I thought they said it was going to be episodes were going to be ready for this fall.
Oh, for the fall.
Yeah, for the
Oh,
fall of this year.
so they just kind of kept the cast under wraps
I
then.
think they're already in production. I would imagine they're already in production,
Oh,
but
wow.
maybe I read that wrong. I thought we were going to have episodes first of the year, or late in the season here.
Well, I mean,
Did I read that wrong? Maybe I'm
you
wrong.
could be right. I mean, the big show they have on right now is Boardwalk Empire. And
Right,
we know
right.
Game of Thrones comes back around April. So there's
Yeah.
got to be a hold for that big HBO show in between. So you could be right after Boardwalk Empire. Maybe that's where it steps up to the plate.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's that filler for between February and April, where you need that 8 weeks, and that episode 8 episodes is probably that sweet spot. So maybe January, mid, where you see the new True Detective, and then of course another season of Game of Thrones, which could be totally interesting.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, thank you for your time as always. As we have more True Detective breaking news, we'll be sure to keep in touch with you. And until next time, cheers and enjoy the day, people. This has been a Pep Talk production.